I've put together this little ankle mobility series for those people who have pronation in their squat. What does that look like? Well, it looks like when you're squatting down, the pinky finger of either one foot or both feet are lifting off the ground and potentially the knees are coming inwards. This little ankle mobility series might be a fix, but there's a few things I want to talk about before we get into it that could also be part of the problem. The first is building an awareness. So as you squat, I want you to focus on 3 key points under each foot. You've got the middle of the heel, the knuckle of the pinky finger, and the knuckle of the big toe. Can you keep the weight evenly distributed under the feet as you squat up and down? Squatting in bare feet or squatting in minimalistic shoes is going to help this because you're going to start to feel where that weight is. So one is awareness. If you're aware of it, maybe you've got the strength and the ability to start to fix it. So try your squat, video yourself from behind, see if that awareness helps you to keep the pinky toe on the ground and stop the feet from pronating. The next thing I want to talk about is weak hip abductors, so weak glutes. We just want to be able to use the glutes to keep the knees tracking over the toes. Sometimes if the glutes are weak, we might start to see the knees collapse inwards. So strengthening the glutes, working things like step ups and split squats is going to be a great way to start to balance out left and right, but also build strength there. So that's another key factor that the mobility series is not going to fix. And the last one is obviously your ankle dorsiflexion. So if we have tightness in the ankle and we can't dorsiflex, then we tend to want to collapse inwards. We tend to roll around that limitation so that we can find more range and get deep in the squat. And this is where the ankle mobility series could help you. The stretches in this series are going to target improving that ankle dorsiflexion and allowing you to keep the heel, the knuckle of the pinky toe, and the knuckle of the big toe on the floor. Give it a try, let me know how you go. Okay, the first thing we're going to need is a lacrosse ball. I'm going to place that on the ground and I'm going to roll the bottom of the foot. I'm going to roll under the knuckle of the pinky toe, under the knuckle of the big toe, and into the arch of the foot. I'm not going to roll over the heel cap because we don't want to crush the tendons that pass underneath the heel cap. So I can apply more weight by leaning onto the ball. It can be quite painful, or I can apply less weight by standing up straight and keeping more weight on this other foot, okay? So we'll spend about 2 minutes rolling one foot, and then you'll switch sides under the big toe, under the pinky toe, through the arch, and we'll roll out, applying different amounts of weight onto the bottom of the other foot. Okay, so after we're finished rolling the foot, the next thing we're going to work on is we're going to work on stretching the big toe, especially the toe extension. So often when we see this pronation in the squat, or even if we're running, we've got a lot of pronation, it's because we're lacking big toe extension. So the body has to find a way to move around that limited range of motion. So what you're going to need is you're going to need like a corner that you can push the big toe up against, a door frame or something like this. I'm going to place the big toe on the edge here, and then I'm going to push the foot down. So I'm starting to get more extension through the big toe, as you can see. Now here I can actually start to lean into it, and I'll feel a stretch in the big toe, and I'll feel a stretch underneath the foot, okay? So you can hunt around, I can twist, I can turn. In reality, going straight forward is probably going to offer the best sensation there. As you stretch out, you can sort of reset. Can I get the foot a little bit closer? Can I start to work on more extension in that big toe? So then obviously if you switch and do the other side, I'd recommend spending sort of 60 seconds to 90 seconds just hanging out in this position. You can see there's a gap between, the squat rack here and the knuckle of the big toe. There's more range I could definitely work on to get better extension in that big toe. It starts to improve, obviously, that extension, which will help me squat deep with less pronation. Okay, you're going to love this next one. We're going to come down into a kneeling position, and you're going to need a barbell for this one. So in the kneeling position, I want to put the weight plate section, where I put the weight plates of the barbell on the back of the calf. In this kneeling position, I can start to apply a force here with this arm to push down. All right, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm just going to start to roll backwards and forwards.
and apply a little bit of force so I can feel that I'm starting to massage the calf and try to find any sort of tight spots in there, okay? So it's an advanced technique of foam rolling, a little bit more painful, a little bit deeper than foam rolling, but it's going to allow you to start to iron out some of the myofascia and some of the kinks and maybe some of the tension through the calf. So we sort of roll all the way down to the base of the calf muscle here, and then we head up through the soleus. The joint between the soleus and the gastroc can often be quite painful, and then we can head up into the gastroc and start to roll that as well, applying that pressure and pushing down, okay? Spend, again, about 60 to 90 seconds on each calf, and just try to find, your tightest or your sorest points there, and use the barbell as a way to sort of massage that out.
Okay, the next thing we're going to work on is some calf raises. But in this variation, we're going to turn the toes inwards and have the heels out. What this is going to do is it's going to allow us to focus again on the big toe extension, and it's going to train more of the outer calf muscle here, so building some strength there to help prevent the pronation going on. So I stand here on a weight plate. I'm going to bring the big toes in and have the heels apart. I'm going to sink down and feel a bit of a stretch in the calf. And then I'm going to push up as high as I possibly can onto the balls of the feet. I'm pushing the knuckle of the big toe and the knuckle of the pinky toe down into the weight plate as much as I can. So we come down and raise up. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Down, touch, up. 3, 2, 2. Really work on keeping the weight balanced between the knuckles of the big toe and the pinky toe. Really work on getting as high as you can. Down, do that little hold at the top. 3, 2, 1, down, up, 3. We're up to 12 to 15 repetitions on standing, feet turned in, calf. Okay, and our next one, you're going to need, again, the weight plate, a kettlebell, and a pretty sort of heavy duty band here. I'm going to tie the band around an upright. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the band around the ankle. The foot goes on top of here, and you may need to use your strength to pull the band so that you feel that there's some tension in the band pulling back this way. We come down into this kneeling position, and we're going to use the kettlebell to add some weight here to the front leg, all right? Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to push the knee over the toe while keeping the heel of the foot down, all right? So the band is adding some distraction, and I can just hang out in this position, or I can go backwards and forwards and start to do some repetitions, okay? As you come forward, we're sticking to the principle that I need to feel weight in the big toe and in the pinky toe, and I'm keeping the heel of the foot down. So as I come forward, I'm making sure the knee is tracking over the toes. I'm not allowing the knee to collapse inwards, which would cause that pronation to happen. I'm keeping the knee in line with the middle two toes. So I sit down in this position. Again, weights under the knuckle and the big toe. I rock back and forward, trying to increase that range and do repetitions, and also hang out in this position. We can apply more weight, pushing the chest down on the kettlebell, feeling that stretch, trying to sink deeper, or we can do a combination of repetitions. I'm going to suggest around about 2 minutes in this position, okay, on each side, just hanging out, trying to feel that we're getting a stretch in the calf. Can you close that angle? Can I cover that front calf with the hamstring muscle there and really push down into that position? Okay, so after we've done a bit of that gapping or that distraction with the band and working on lengthening the calf in that bent knee position, I also like to work on the tibialis and stretching out the tibialis as well. If this is tight and sort of junky in here, it can actually impact our ability to dorsiflex the ankle as well. So we're just going to start to stretch this a little bit, opposite side of the ankle. So here I'm going to do toes elevated. It's called a Seiza. So what I want to do is I want to push the heels of the feet together. Common thing here is the heels want to come apart So I'm pushing them together. I'm gonna hold them together here as I bring the hips back and I sit on the heels, and then slowly I'm gonna start to lean back. And what I'm trying to do is push the front of the ankles down towards the ground. Now I can make this exercise harder. The further I lean back, the more weight is pushed in here. And if I sit upright or I sit forward, it's less. So you can scale this depending on the range that you have. But again, you want to hang out here for roughly 60 to 90 seconds, just trying to sink deeper, and you'll definitely feel that stretch in the front of the ankles there as you hang out. Enjoy. Okay, our last one for this little series is we're going to actually sit in the bottom of the squat with the barbell on top of our knees. So I'm going to start at a standing position, set my feet in my squat stance, toes are slightly turned out. I'm going to squat down and I'm going to rest the bar just on top of the thighs here. Again, I'm trying to focus on the knuckle of the pinky toe and big toe, the knuckle of the big toe and pinky toe, sitting my torso upright and just hanging out in the bottom of the squat. I can move the weight sort of backwards and forwards, so I can actually lean forward a little bit and put more weight into the knuckles, or I can sit back and put more weight into the heels. But what we don't want to see is we don't want to see any of that pronation, so we want to see a strong arch if you've got it, or we want to see that you're trying to pull the knees out, keep the knees tracking over the toes, and just hang out in the bottom of this squat. You can move side to side, you can do little circles and feel the weight under the feet. You can change directions. Just think about chilling and breathing while you hang out in this squat for roughly 2 minutes. I like to apply a little bit more weight to the balls of the feet because obviously we're trying to stretch the calf and improve that ankle dorsiflexion. But as I said before, keep the knees sort of pulled out and make sure there's no pronation happening there in the ankle. Okay, that brings us to the end of this ankle mobility series. I'd recommend that you do this as the warm-up on your squat day. If you're not doing squats, but you're doing lunges, split squats, or step-ups, this is still a very useful warm-up because it's going to help you increase that ankle dorsiflexion range, which will improve your form and technique on all of those lower body exercises. As your ankle mobility improves, you'll need to do less and less of this because squats and lunges and step-ups, as long as you're doing them, they're going to help you maintain this ankle dorsiflexion. But right now, if you're missing that, or if you're noticing there's pronation in the ankle at the bottom of the squat, you're going to find this series very helpful. If you found it useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Good luck with your ankle mobility.